Ontario, California, Liquid Event TV presents the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament. Tonight, the women's final. Number 3 seed Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros versus the number 1 seed Cal Poly Pomona Broncos. Hi everyone, I'm David Smock from Television Sports America and the Toro Sports Network at Cal State Dominguez Hills. On the left, Mark Serber from Fox Sports International, and Ray Dietz, former player at Villanova. And first, Mark, last night the Toros did something that very few teams have done this season against Chico State.
Well, the Toros went into halftime trailing by 11, and Chico State was 15-1 when they had the lead at the break. But the Toros played nearly a perfect second half, and they deserved their spot here in the finals tonight.
And Ray, in this game tonight, we're going to see some of the best players in the conference go head-to-head.
Absolutely. You got Jada Blackwell for Cal Poly, 19-7. You don't see that very often, Conference Player of the Year. On the other side, you got Monet Lee. She's an inside-out player. She can do it all. She can pass the ball, rebound, score inside and out, and at her height, she'll do damage down low as well.
And when we come back, we'll have the starting lineups, the opening tip-off, a ticket to the NCAA West Regionals on the line tonight here in Ontario. You're watching live on Liquid Event TV. Mark Serber courtside here at CBB Arena in Ontario, California, as we await the starting lineups for tonight's ball game. As the number 3 seed, the Toros will be in their dark red uniforms trimmed in gold, and the number 1 seed, Cal Poly Pomona Broncos, they will be the designated home team wearing their white uniforms trimmed in green. Somebody's going to punch their ticket tonight to the big dance. Will it be the Toros or the Broncos? And now the public address announcer, J.J. Gould, welcoming the fans here to the arena.
Crowd into it early here. Final game of the weekend.
Tonight's second championship game.
And game number 10.
It features the number 3 Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros taking on the number 1 seed Cal Poly Pomona Broncos.
You know, last night in the ball game, Monet Lee kind of shouldered most of the offensive output for Cal State Dominguez Hills before getting help in the second half from her teammates. What the Toros don't want to do is get behind early. Brianne Garcia being introduced as the starting guard. She's scored 18 points the other night.
Spark plug player for the Toros.
J.J. Judge, 5'10 senior guard from Roseville for Cal Poly Pomona. Taylor Champion, 5'10 junior forward from Inglewood. And now for Cal Poly Pomona, Ariel Marsh, averaging 17 points this season. A big offensive spark plug after being out last year because of injury. Monet Lee, all CCAA first team, introduced for the Toros. And now Lauren Jakey for Cal Poly Pomona, a 5'9 junior guard from Richfield, Washington. Shamari McCorkle, 5'11 junior forward from Orange. She cleared the boards last night. Not much in the way of points, but a lot of rebounds for the Toros. Ashley Lovett, 6' junior forward from Marietta. And Amber Wharton, when she got going last night in the second half for the Toros, gave Cal State Dominguez Hills a big lift in their win against Chico State. And finally, the CCAA Player of the Year from Cal Poly Pomona, Jada Blackwell, a 6'1 junior center from Rancho Cucamonga. So those are tonight's starters. Again, we have a moment. Congratulations to the Cal State Stanislaus Warriors, defeating Chico State 82-70 as the number 4 seed Warriors win the CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament. And the Cal State Stanislaus Warriors on the outside, they're very much in the inside now as the CCAA Conference champion next week at the NCAA West Regional. So again, congratulations to the men's basketball team at Cal State Stanislaus in Turlock. Blackwell will jump, that's 6'1". McCorkle at 5'11" will jump for Cal State Dominguez Hills, and the tip is controlled by Cal Poly Pomona. We're underway here in the women's basketball championship game. Cal State Dominguez Hills versus Cal Poly Pomona. Ariel Marsh going to the bucket. Ball hung up there in the air for a while and fell through, and she'll go to the line to shoot at least one.
She's not shy. She's, as you mentioned, David, averaging 17 a game, so she's looking to put the ball in the basket.
And she gets the free throw. So very early, Cal Poly Pomona out to a 3-0 lead.
There's a 2-1-2 full court press as they fall back into the zone here, 2-3.
30-second shot clock in women's basketball. Wharton with 3, and our first side score of the ball game. Early on to 3-3.
Poly didn't locate that time on the backside.
Marsh off the rim, put back.
You know
by
who.
Blackwell.
And that's exactly what Dominguez Hills can't afford to do tonight. Let Blackwell box out and get those second chance opportunities in the paint.
Yeah, you're just hurting yourself by giving up those second chances. So champion's going to be relied on by the Toros down low. Monet Lee will be needed for rebounding.
Well, 58 seconds isn't much to go on, but so far it seems both teams playing up tempo.
Yeah, this is a charged atmosphere.
Very spirited fans here in attendance tonight from both schools. Blackwell to the bucket. Lee on the rebound. I think they're going to say Blackwell.
It's like 24 there.
Yeah.
Lovett on the foul. I think she was holding.
Ashley Lovett, first personal team first.
Now, I think they're trying to correct it. They mentioned Lovett, but she wears number 24 for Cal Poly Pomona. Wharton wears number 24 for Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Okay.
18:40 to play first half, 5-3 in favor of Cal Poly Pomona.
Shows you the versatility of Monet Lee in the backcourt, helping bring the ball up. And this is a player that will post on the block as well.
Champion. Rebound by Lee. Reset on the 30-second shot clock. Wharton over to Garcia. Garcia trying to go around Blackwell. 5-2 versus 6-1. And Garcia scores.
They're going to call a travel there.
Yeah. Okay, traveling call against Garcia. So the score remains Cal Poly Pomona 5, Cal State Dominguez Hills 3.
So often this year, the Toros got down early and had to scramble back to win ball games. So we'll see if this holds true tonight.
Blackwell for 2, that gives her 4 in the game. 7-3, the lead for Cal Poly Pomona. Just 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the first half. Again, 30-second shot clock in women's college basketball. Lee from long distance, and Lovett with the rebound.
Talia Rayford waiting to come in the game for Dominguez Hills. She averages 11 points and 8 rebounds, so she's looking to bring a spark off the bench already. Molly Gudenbauer, that is.
Blackwell along the baseline, and Lee coming down to the rebound, but as soon as she hit the ground, it's an automatic traveling call.
So Rayford comes in for Champion.
Blackford's missed 2 easy layups. She's done a good job to charge along that baseline, but putting him up too strong, needs a bit of a softer touch. Could have 6 points in this game already.
Yeah, may have some jitters early on here. She's finding the position, just needs to finish.
Key player to watch is Ariel Marsh, who has the basketball right now. If she starts hitting baskets, the Toros are in trouble. So far, she has 3 in the game. Along the baseline, misses everything. McCorkle again cleaning off those boards with the rebound for the Toros.
Yeah,
Garcia to Rayford, and Talia Rayford for 3. No, it's 7-6, 1-point ball game.
That's what makes Garcia so dangerous. Not only is she a shooter, but she can slash into the lane. And as that Cal Poly Pomona defense collapsed into the paint, that's when she kicked it out, and it was an open 3-pointer.
Yeah, very, very good point, Mark.
Yeah, Garcia had a tremendous freshman year. Actually broke her wrist last year and started pretty good this year. Went through a little bit of a slump in the middle of the year, but as she goes, the Toros go. She is a real spark plug, and she's played well lately.
Lee called for a hand check foul, her first personal foul, second team foul against Dominguez Hills.
And Dominguez Hills early on really controlling the boards.
Toros trying to figure out the zone here.
7-6, Broncos lead by 1, coming up on the 16-minute mark in the first half.
Monet Lee grabs a seat. McCorkle running inside there. The shot clock is down.
2 seconds on the shot clock. Now, as Wharton just threw it up, but Rayford with the rebound and a reset of the 30-second shot clock for the Toros. 15:45 to play first half. Broncos 7, Toros 6. Wharton for 3, short, off the rebound, or off the rim rather, the rebound by Ariel Marsh.
Broncos need to move the ball here this time.
Blackwell back to Marsh. Marsh for 3, and that's what the Toros don't want to see. Marsh hitting those 3, and now already 6 of the 10 points for Cal Poly Pomona belong to Ariel Marsh. 10-6 with 15:12 remaining. Cal Poly Pomona on a little 7-3 run here. 10 on the shot clock.
Ball in the high post.
5 to shoot.
No basket, foul before the shot.
So we have a timeout.
So there's a timeout on the floor with 14:52 to play in the first half with the score. The Cal Poly Pomona Broncos 10 and the Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros 6. You're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV. Mark Serber, Ray Dietz, I'm David Smock here at CBB Arena. And gentlemen, so far, your impressions of what we've seen in the first 5 minutes.
Well, Mark made a couple of good points there, and Garcia's a spark plug for the Toros. So as she goes, the Toros go. They're used to coming from behind, so they're not in foreign territory right now, Mark.
Well, the one thing that the Toros do have to worry about is they've already turned the ball over 3 times. so they need to take better care of the ball. The other thing is when you're playing against Jada Blackwell, there's two things you need to do. One, which they did right before the timeout, is drive at her and initiate contact to get Jada Blackwell into foul coverage. If you're not going to do that, the other thing you have to do is pull her away from underneath the basket so you can get those easier points in the paint, because Blackwell is an excellent defender.
Yeah, she's a load down there, and she's hard to push around, so look for the Toros to work on those types of things. And of course, Marsh, she's going to put it up tonight.
14:52 to play first half. Cal Poly Pomona 10 and Cal State Dominguez Hills 6. Toros inbounding the ball after the timeout with a 30-second shot clock. Wharton goes over the near side to Rayford, back to Wharton. Rayford, and a rebound by Marsh. So far, Marsh with 6 points, leading both teams in scoring.
The battle in the low post has been just as physical as it was in the men's game.
Yeah, Rayford trying to get Blackwell out of there. You got a 3-second in the lane.
Yeah, 3-second violation against Cal Poly Pomona. Yeah, as a coach, that must drive you batty to have a 3-second violation this late in the season.
Well, especially when the whole idea of your offense is continuous motion, so nobody should be standing still for 3 seconds anywhere.
Still a 4-point game in favor of the Broncos, leading Cal State Dominguez Hills 10-6.
Toros looking at the zone here.
Garcia with 15 to shoot. Back to Rayford at the top of the key to Garcia. 10 seconds on the shot clock. And now Rayford driving to the basket and scoring. Talia Rayford. That's 5 points in the ball game for Rayford. And it's a 2-point ball game. Cal Poly Pomona 10, Cal State Dominguez Hills 8, with 13:38 to play in the first half.
This is trouble.
Blackwell scores as she muscles her way to the bucket. That's 6 points now for Blackwell, and is back to a 4-point advantage for the Broncos as Cal Poly Pomona leads the Toros 12-8.
And that's where you need to double Jada Blackwell.
Yeah, if she gets it that low, it's going to be tough to stop.
Nothing but three by Simone Thompson, the 5'6" sophomore guard from Gardena. And it's a 1-point ball game. Cal Poly Pomona 12, Cal State Dominguez Hills 11.
Cal State Dominguez Hills shooting 3 for 6 from behind the arc. They're gonna have to shoot lights out from the perimeter to keep up with Cal Poly Pomona here.
Nice take.
Yeah, driving to the basket, Tyler Woods, a 5'2" junior guard from nearby Corona. In fact, Woods is out of Santa Clara High School. Garcia, Brianne Garcia, nicknamed Breezy, her first personal foul. Going to the line is Tyler Woods, a 78% free throw shooter, and just like that, she misses the first one.
Yeah, that was a nice penetration there. Cal Poly needs contributions from multiple people so that they're not just sitting back relying on Ariel Marsh to create offense. So that's a good thing there for Cal Poly.
Garcia out of the ball game, sitting next to assistant coach Brittany Blankenship, as Woods makes the second one of two, and it's 13-11, one possession ball game. Broncos leading Cal State Dominguez Hills by 2 points. 12:39 remaining in the first half. Champion for three.
She can hit that. Not afraid to let it launch.
And Cal State Dominguez Hills takes the lead at 14-13. Gentlemen, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those games that'll go back and forth, almost down to the final buzzer. Marsh with the basketball, 15 on the shot clock. Blackwell in the corner, back to Marsh. Now 10 to shoot. 12:05 on the scoreboard. And ball goes out of bounds.
Yeah, I agree with you, David. It seems like the Toros, when they have to, they really put forth energy and effort and have come back a number of times this year. So in this environment, though, both teams know this is it. So
in the first 8 minutes of the ball game. Monet Lee has 2 personal fouls and had to come out of the ball game. We'll see how huge that will be. And there's a timeout on the floor. 11:59 left in the first half with the score. The California State University Dominguez Hills Toros 14 and the California Polytechnic State University Pomona Broncos 13. You're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV. Cal State Dominguez Hills cheerleaders entertaining the fans here at CBB Arena in Ontario.
Both teams nearby here. Cal Poly within 15 miles and a little over an hour drive for Dominguez Hills. So both teams have their cheerleading support here tonight.
Mark, anything on live stats that you see that stands out to you that we haven't covered?
Well, Cal State Dominguez Hills and Cal Poly Pomona both shooting over 55% from the floor, and that's why we have a 14-13 game. But pretty much the Toros out-rebounding Cal Poly Pomona 5-4, but still too early for the stats to really decipher anything just yet. One thing I did see is Monet Lee did a great job on that last play to slide over in cover in that corner, but she can't allow herself to initiate the contact, has to be in better control as she makes that slide over.
And Monet Lee, the top scorer, averaging 15 points a game this season for Cal State Dominguez Hills, still on the Toros bench with 2 personal fouls under the 12-minute mark. Kylan Wilson, her shot doesn't go. Rebound Rayford. Now Taylor Champion for 3, and the ball's rebounded by Blackwell for Cal Poly Pomona. So far, Cal State Dominguez Hills with 8 points off the bench to 1 for the Broncos, but it doesn't matter when you have a player like Blackwell scoring. That's 8 points in the ball game now unofficially for Jada Blackwell, and you see why she's the CCAA Player of the Year.
She called bank on that one.
So first you think, good, she's playing far away from the basket, but she's able to hurt you from both down low and in that mid-range.
That's right. It's going to be a challenge tonight for the Toros.
Fast break, Jakey with the layup. Lauren Jakey getting in on the action, and now Cal Poly Pomona has a 3-point lead as there's a timeout on the floor with 10:53 left in the first half with the score. Cal Poly Pomona 17, Cal State Dominguez Hills 14, and you're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV. And good to see the Cal Poly Pomona Pep Band back here tonight entertaining the folks here. There's something about live music at a college basketball tournament that cannot be beat.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it out at Dominguez this year, and I remember when I played in high school, and sometimes we had a pep band, sometimes we didn't. And when I was a young guy, some of the seniors would talk about, hey, we got the pep band here tonight. We need to come out and play. So players recognize that too.
David Smock, Ray Dietz, and Mark Serber with you on Liquid Event TV. I apologize, a little tickle in my throat, so if I cough, I apologize in advance. Mark, stand by. You may have to do a little play-by-play here. 10 on the shot clock.
Nice look.
Yeah, unfortunately, it did not go on the attempt by Shamari McCorkle. So the ball turned over.
Did you guys just see Wilson hurdle over the Cal Poly Pomona bench as she went for that loose ball?
Didn't miss that, but it doesn't surprise me. She's the best athlete on their team.
Well, they do have a women's track team in Cal State Dominguez Hills.
She completely cleared the entire bench, and there are some tall ladies sitting right now.
Yeah, and Dominguez has been known to put some girls in the Olympics, too.
Judge to Woods, underneath to Lovett. Lovett turns around and shoots and scores. Ashley Lovett with her first points of the ball game. Now Cal Poly Pomona, their biggest lead of the game right now at 5 points, 19-14, as we just passed the 10-minute mark in the first half.
Big game for recruiting as well, as these two teams in Southern California battling on the recruiting circuit. Wilson.
Kylan Wilson kind of picking up some of the offensive slack with Monet Lee on the bench.
That's her game, Mark. Jumping chairs, athletically laying the ball in down low. When she's up and down, you can't beat her. coaching, they got to just keep her out of shooting the long shot.
Judge misses, rebound Garcia.
And what Wilson did there was she waited for her defender to take her eyes off her and then ghosted in behind her on that backdoor cut.
Yeah, when she's playing down low and up and down the floor, the Toros are going very well.
Another turnover, and the Toros cannot afford those, especially against such a high-octane offense.
Yeah, double dribbling. That's usually a call you hear on the playground.
That's right.
Not too much in the NCAA Division II level, but
as a playground player myself, that's the kind of call you try and get away with.
Right.
Well, the lead official of this officiating crew is the best referee in the country.
Monet Lee in there, I believe, with 2 fouls, David.
Yeah, she has 2 fouls back in the game. They don't want this one to get away, and they're still within 3 points with 8:53 until halftime.
And it looked like Tyler Woods for Pomona recognized that, and they were looking to post Monet. Take some recognition by the players as well here.
Feed into Blackwell, being guarded by McCorkle. Blackwell off the glass, rebound by Rayford.
Well, Rayford and Marsh were bumping each other underneath as well, as Rayford did a good job to come up with that rebound.
It's a law firm as well, Rayford and
yeah, Rayford and Marsh.
That's right.
LLC. Garcia tries to throw up a prayer, not answered.
Look for the foul, just didn't get it.
And the ball goes out of bounds, and possession will go to Cal Poly Pomona. 8:17 to go first half. Cal Poly Pomona 19, Cal State Dominguez Hills 16. The CCAA championship match. Winner punches their ticket automatically next weekend.
Goki calling out the play, holding her chin.
Broncos are in. The Toros with the win would definitely be in. NCAA West Regional may be in Pomona.
They call Monet Lee, it looks like.
Love it. Yeah, Monet Lee with 3 personal fouls now. So 3 personal fouls with 7:52 to play in the first half. That is huge.
Yeah, you hate to see player getting into, it's nobody's fault, but she does get into foul trouble, so that's going to have quite an influence on this ball game.
Now the Cal Poly Pomona dance team will entertain the fans here. Mark, anything on live stats that stands out for you?
Cal State Dominguez Hills has yet to go to the line, so that just shows you the discipline of this Cal Poly Pomona defense. But once again, they collapse into the paint, especially when Garcia comes in, which means that Cal State Dominguez Hills has open players on the perimeter, but they have to knock down those shots, or else Cal Poly Pomona is going to start to run away with this game, especially with Lee in foul trouble.
Cal Poly Pomona won both meetings during the regular season in Pomona at Kellogg Gym. Cal Poly Pomona defeated Cal State Dominguez Hills 64-53. Check that. That was at the Toro Dome in Carson. Then on February 20th at Kellogg Gym, it was a 73-54 win, 19-point differential there for the Broncos. So that's one of the reasons why they don't want to allow this game to get away too much too early. So 7:52 to play, 19-16. Cal Poly Pomona with a 3-point lead. Ariel Marsh with the basketball.
Cal Poly Pomona only 1 offensive rebound.
Tough man-to-man defense, trying to keep the ball away from Blackwell, and they do that time.
Yeah, Jakey's pass knocked away and intercepted by McCorkle. At the other end, though, the layup attempt comes off the glass, and at the other end, Blackwell scored. And that's at least 10 points for Blackwell.
McCorkle really putting forth an effort down low, and that time just flew by on the ball fake.
Well, they have Blackwell with 6 on the last one. That makes it at least 8 now officially. So 21-16, back to a 5-point lead. Biggest advantage here in the first half for Cal Poly Pomona. And the shot by Talia Rayford goes through. And unofficially, that's 7 for Rayford. Back to a one-possession ball game, 21-18. Marsh off balance. And Jakey and Wharton fighting for the ball.
Jakey tried to throw it off of Ward, but good job to move out of the way and let that ball go out of bounds.
No seniors on this Cal State Dominguez Hills team. Consensus was Molly Goodenbauer's team was about a year away from being really, really good. They'll settle for really good right now as Amber Warden scores.
Yeah, that's a tough play if you're Cal Poly there. You never want to let the opposing player make a layup there, but you don't want to give them the N1 here either. So it's a aggressive play in a championship game.
On our last stat sheet, points off the bench, 10 for Cal State Dominguez Hills and only 1 for Cal Poly Pomona. You can take a look at that one of two ways. Cal Poly Pomona is so good out there that they don't have to really bring in reserves. Warden at the free throw line misses the attempt to make it a one-point ball game or tie-book game, 21-20. 6:15 until halftime. Judge short. Judge gets her own rebound. Putback attempt. That doesn't go. Coming down initially with the rebound. Look, it was Jakey, but the ball goes out of bounds.
With this lineup, the Toros would like to get it up and down. They've got Wilson in, Champion out. Monet Lee has to be out with 3 fouls. So the Toros would like to get it into an up and down game and make it a little ugly here. And hopefully stay in this game heading into halftime where they can get Lee back in the second half.
In and out. And Toros have the ball on the rebound. At halftime, Mark Serber will be interviewing Mike Matthews, CCAA commissioner, about the tournament. A bunch of other subjects as well live at halftime. Five to shoot. Garcia for 3, no. And rebound by Ariel Marsh for Cal Poly Pomona. Jakey with the basketball for the Broncos. Now to Marsh, right in front of the Cal State Dominguez Hills bench. Get the ball into Blackwell. Blackwell, she goes to the ground, scores.
Yeah, that's awfully low. When she gets it down there that low, it's lights out.
Okay, now that's 10 points for Blackwell. 23-20, still a one-possession ball game. But Cal Poly Pomona leading Cal State Dominguez Hills by 3 points. And as Garcia goes to the line, it's going to be a foul.
Brianne Garcia with her contingent here from Highland High School and the Go #1 Breezy banners in the stands.
First personal foul against Tyler Woods, 4th team foul against Cal Poly Pomona as we come up on the 5-minute mark of the first half. 23-20, Broncos by a 3 over the Toros. Speaking of number 3, Champion tried to get a shot and put back. A lot of bodies there. Any of you see that, gentlemen?
Yeah, they're kind of letting them play here, other than Monet Lee's gotten a couple of cheap ones, but
yeah, I didn't see the basket though.
It was Wharton who put it in.
I'm sorry?
It was Wharton who put it in.
Okay, so Wharton now 7 points in the ball game. 1-point game, 23-22. A field goal here. Wharton for 3 would give the Toros the lead. Love it on the rebound.
Call it 20.
There's a timeout on the floor. 4 of 22 to play in the first half. It's Cal Poly 23 and Cal State Dominguez Hills 22. You're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV.
Well, so far, Cal Poly Pomona doing all their work down low through Blackwell because they've only taken 3 shots from the perimeter. Everything else is down to Blackwell, and she's either going to get that bucket or get the foul, and that's why we see Monet Lee with 3 personal fouls already.
Yes, it's a game where I think Cal Poly, to win this one, they're going to need to get those contributions from Woods and Gecki and some of these other players. To start the game, they've certainly gone down to Blackwell and gone to the well. And the Toros are trying everything they can. McCorkle is a high-energy player, so they've placed her on Blackwell. But we'll see as this game progresses how each coach alters their plan and calls audibles.
Horn sounds, both teams still in the huddle.
And as you already mentioned, David, Cal Poly Pomona already into the NCAA tournament. So this game, even though everybody wants that banner, much more important for Cal State Dominguez Hills. And they're playing with that intensity, and they're getting good looks at the basket. Just need to knock down a few more shots, but they're doing a good job of keeping it close here.
In the latest poll, Cal State Dominguez Hills fell from 6 to 7. Top 8 teams make it to the West Regional. So that's why a win here automatically sends the Toros next weekend somewhere.
This ball's going to stay with Cal Poly, but they've had a lot of chances for layups that they've put up too strong. Once again, it's all about the touch, knowing the weight of the shot that you need to put on it when you put up, recognizing where you are along that post and how hard you have to put it off the glass.
Yeah, Blackwell, you think she would work to get to the foul line a little more. She's just finding her legs here in the championship game.
Ariel Marsh for 3. Rebounded by Blackwell.
Here's where you repost. They're going to set the screen. That's the play. You want to repost her, kick it out, let her get down lower, and then throw it back into her.
Jada Blackwell with 10 points, 6 by Ariel Marsh for Cal Poly Pomona, 7 points by Amber Warden, and 7 by Talia Rayford for Cal State Dominguez Hills. 23-22, 3:49 until halftime. Well, we thought this would be a Jim Dandy game, and so far it has been. Lovett for 2. And that's at least 4 points for Lovett.
That's where a lot of times you get a coach saying, you better have made that, because she had a teammate wide open.
Yeah, Marsh was cutting in the back door. Nobody was guarding her.
Exactly.
Yeah, we missed a field goal earlier, so Lovett now actually with 6 points for the Broncos. 25-22. Cal Poly Pomona in the lead in a one-possession ball game. Shot by Champion off the glass, rebounded by Blackwell. Into the front court comes Tyler Woods. And the ball stolen away by Simone Thompson, and Thompson with the layup.
Nice left hand.
5 points for Thompson. 25-24 as we break the 3-minute mark. 1 point lead for the Broncos over the Toros.
Brianne Garcia might have drawn that.
Garcia was bumping her all the way down the floor and then had her hands up. And Garcia's actually going to get the foul.
She's going to get the foul.
She's trying to initiate that contact, and not the best idea in the end.
I think the official saw it. It was kind of comical, actually. She was getting in the face there of number 15, Tyler Woods, and did not draw the foul.
Woods 1 of 2 at the line, makes that one. She's 2 of 3. Well, this number 1 officiating crew, Lisa Ulmer, veteran official, Kim Hobbs, Norma Liebfried. In fact, usually Lisa Ulmer is the head official in the women's championship game every year, and the second one is good as well. So Woods now 3 of 4 from the line. That gives Cal Poly Pomona a 3-point lead, 27-24 with 2:54 until the break. Wharton in the backcourt, needs 10 seconds. Has to get it into the front court, getting close, but Rayford breaks the pressure by Cal Poly Pomona. Champion for 3 from the corner, no. Rebound by Jakey for Cal Poly Pomona. Two and a half minutes to play. Blackwell for 3, nothing but net. And for Blackwell, that's 13 points in the game so far.
That happened because McCorkle slipped, so she was unable to get to Blackwell, and Blackwell was wide open.
Well, she's from Rancho Cucamonga, and she shot that from Rancho Cucamonga. It was 45 degrees from the basket, over the shoulder here, right in Rancho Cucamonga vicinity.
10 to shoot. Shot doesn't go on the attempt by Wharton. 2:01 to play. 6-point lead, biggest of the first half for Cal Poly Pomona at 30-24. Wharton with 7 points.
Nice rotation, good fundamental shooter.
Making the first, 1 shot remaining.
Got 2:01 in the half, so this is a vital foul shot.
Makes both of them 2 of 3 at the line here in the first half. That's 9 points for Amber Wharton. 30-26.
It's a man-to-man here.
Lauren Jakey to Marsh. Over the far side to Judge. Into Jakey. 15 to shoot. Jakey still with the ball. Now gives it over to Lovett. Lovett has the ball.
Stolen.
Picked away by Amber Wharton. 24 steals from number 24. Shot though, not enough oomph on it.
Nice rip by
But
Champion.
Marsh couldn't handle the ball. Picked up by Champion, and Wharton still gets the bucket.
Yeah, that was awareness there by Champion, and that's a 4-point swing.
Amber Wharton with 11 points now makes it 30-28, minute 15 until halftime. Mark Serber will interview Mike Matthews, commissioner of the CCAA, during the break. Marsh trying to get around Rayford.
This game has really taken on a different complexion with Monet Lee on the bench. The Toros become more of an up and down team, and I think they've held up pretty well with Monet on the bench.
And in case you're just joining us, Monet Lee is on the bench, leading scorer for the Toros because she has 3 personal fouls. Now Marsh at the free throw line makes the first one. So she's 2 of 2 so far at the charity stripe. And make it 3 of 3. It's 8 points for Marsh. And it's 32-28 in favor of Cal Poly Pomona with 65 seconds to play in the first half.
Amber Wharton's developed into a very effective player. She's running the point here, bringing it up against 2 Cal Poly players. Needs some help. So they pull it out, run some offense.
Shot clock coming up at 10, 45 seconds on the scoreboard.
So that last pressing situation for Cal Poly, they did a good job of not having much risk on the back end. You would have thought that after the long pass, the Toros would have attacked the basket. They did not, so there was no risk involved in the press by Poly, so they'll continue doing that.
Second team foul, or second personal foul against Tyler Woods. 6th team foul against Cal Poly Pomona.
35 seconds remaining.
Now about 11 seconds separating the shot clock and the scoreboard. Champion scores. That's 5 points for Champion, 32-30, back to a 1-possession ball game. Shot clock's been turned off. Cal Poly Pomona can work to shoot the last shot of the first half. 10 seconds. 8. Jakey with the ball, driving in the lane, off the glass, rebound by Champion. Rayford with 2 seconds, launches just wide left. And at halftime, as the buzzer sounds in the CCAA Women's Championship game, it's the Cal Poly Pomona Broncos 32 and the Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros 0. And you're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct your attention to center court at this time. Here is the Cal State Dominguez Hills cheer.
Mark Serber here with CCAA Commissioner Mike Matthews. First of all, thank you so much for joining us here on Liquid Event TV.
My pleasure, Mark.
Oh, it's been a great weekend of basketball, and the format has changed this year from 8 teams with the first round at different venues before coming to the tournament. Now you had 6 teams with the top 2 teams having a bye and everybody coming to this venue. Why the change in format, and are you happy with the change?
Well, there were a couple of reasons why our institutions wanted to make a change. One is we used to have a very, very short turnaround between the end of the regular season, the first round game at campus sites in the middle of the week, and then the semifinals and finals at a single site last year here in Ontario. So to kind of ease back on some of that last-minute travel, our institutions thought that might be a nice idea. In addition, it gives the 1 and 2 seeds a little bit of a reward for winning the regular season by getting a first-round bye. It didn't work out so well this year, of course, from the results, but that was the intent. So it's been good. I mean, I think it's nice to have all of the teams in the tournament in one spot. It kind of provokes more of a tournament feel for the 6 teams in the event, as opposed to those first-round games on campus sites really feeling much more like a regular season game than a tournament game.
Well, I know the 1 and 2 seeds both went out yesterday, but you have to be happy with the way the men's tournament turned out. I mean, Cal State Stanislaus and Chico State pulling great upsets, and then the final tonight was excellent.
It was. You know, Cal State Stanislaus came into this tournament really as probably our hottest team. I think they won their last 6 games in a row or so. What I've been most impressed by with our men's play is the amount of intensity on the floor all the time. You know, after a while, these teams have been pounding on each other so many times during the course of the year that there's no secrets out there. And the level of play, incredibly intense. It's not surprising, really, that Cal State Stanislaus could make a run like that. You know, we had 2 teams that were a little bit ahead of the rest of the pack this year, but anything can happen. It usually does, and it did.
Anything can happen as well as Cal State Dominguez Hills. Last night, the women coming back from an 11-point halftime deficit, just the second time in 17 games that Chico State have relinquished a halftime lead, and now Cal State Dominguez Hills trailing Cal Poly Pomona 32-30 at halftime. So you have to be happy with this women's final as well.
Yeah, this game is close, and I don't think that's totally unexpected either. I mean, in our conference in women's basketball this year, we had amazing balance near the top of the schedule, top of the standings. You know, our first place team clinched with about 2 weeks to go, but after that, we were in a position of possibly having 5 teams all tie at 13 and 9 for second place. We ended up with 4 teams tying at 13 and 9, but it just kind of spoke to the amazing balance in the league, where we had some teams that could win both games from an opponent in a given year and then lose 2 games to another opponent in a given year, and they all are tied. So it's not at all surprising that things are so tight. We'll just have to see how this second half goes.
Well, speaking about both the men and the women, there is a chance on the men's side that you could possibly get 4 teams from the CCAA into the tournament. Do you see that happening? And also, how many teams do you think will get in from the women's side?
Well, it's possible to get 4 on the men's side. You know, a lot of times it depends on what happens in other tournaments. Now, whenever you have an upset and a team wins a tournament and grabs the automatic qualifier spot, and they weren't, you know, in the top 8 to begin with, that displaces some other teams above them. So that committee will have a hard time, you know, filling these 8 spots. I think we have we certainly will get 3 with Cal State San Bernardino and Cal Poly Pomona, and Cal State Stanislaus taking the automatic berth. And Chico State was ranked 6th among the top 8 and, you know, did quite well here. So I think we have a pretty decent shot at having 4 out of the 8 slots in the West. You know, the women's side will have to see. All 3 of the Western conferences are playing their women's finals now, so we'll have to see what develops there. But, you know, certainly Cal Poly Pomona is going to be strong. Cal State Dominguez Hills is going to be strong. Chico State's going to be strong. You know, we're in a good position, I think, on both sides of the coin.
Mark Serber alongside CCAA Commissioner Mike Matthews here at halftime of the women's final in the CCAA Championship. It's Cal Poly Pomona 32 and Cal State Dominguez Hills 30. And this is the second year here at Citizens Business Bank Arena. Just talk about the venue and your experience at this venue over the last 2 years.
Well, it's a great place, and the people here who run the venue are just outstanding. They've been just terrific. Our tournament, I'm new here, I've only been on the job for a little over a year. Our tournament has tended to move around a bit, typically north-south, maybe in 2-year increments. So I'm sure that our institutions will talk this spring about the experience not only of being at a truly neutral site, but also the 6-team tournament experience, and whether or not the event needs to move back north, where it hasn't been for a few years, stay in the south. I mean, there's lots of options out there, and we'll know more at the end of the academic year about where we're heading.
Well, you said you've only been here for about over a year. What initiatives are you working on, not only in basketball, but the other sports in the CCAA as well?
Well, there's a couple things we've been working on. Most publicly, I guess, we're celebrating the 75th year of the conference this year. And as you probably know, the CCAA is the most successful Division II conference in the country in terms of NCAA championships won. It's 152 or so, far and away more than any other Division II conference in the country. So we've been spending the year kind of celebrating the 75th anniversary. You've probably seen the 75th anniversary patch on the institution's uniforms tonight. We'll probably have some other announcements about some other things that we're going to be doing around the anniversary by the end of the year. We're also doing everything we can to try to enhance the student-athlete experience. At the Division II level in particular, that's a big deal. And so trying to do some different things around the championships themselves, the banquets themselves, setting the stage basically for student-athletes to have an experience that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. That's a big focal point for our conference right now.
Oh, Mr. Matthews, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And congratulations on a wonderful weekend.
Okay, thanks very much.
We'll now hand it over to David Smock, who is sitting courtside with Cal State Dominguez Hills Sports Information Director Mel Miranda.
Thank you very much, Mark. Again, as you mentioned a moment ago, halftime at CBB Arena in Ontario. Cal Poly Pomona 32 and Cal State Dominguez Hills 30. And as Mark introduced you, Mel, very interesting first half. Your impressions?
It's been great, David. We knew that Pomona is the cream of the crop in the conference, but the Toros, like Coach Kudenbauer said, anything can happen in a series, in a tournament. So if you start getting hot, you can play up to your competition, and I think that's what the Toros have done, building confidence after the first game against East Bay when they just took charge from the beginning, and then after last night's incredible win over Chico State after being down by so much with 14-11 left. It just gives them so much confidence, and it's showing in the first half today against a very stellar Pomona squad.
Yeah, when Chico State was in the lead at halftime, they were 15-1 this year. They're now 15-2 as Monet Lee kind of shouldered the Toros on offense. Finally got some help late in the game from Wharton, McCorkle, wiping off the boards. Breezy got into it and really kind of had a very impressive win last night. Of course, there's only one player in foul trouble, and bad news for the Toros. That's Monet Lee with 3 personal fouls, and that has to alter Molly's approach here in the second half.
Definitely, Monet is one of the very key figures on the team, and I mean, even though she has 3 right now, I know Coach Gudenbauer put her back in after picking up her second foul pretty early on. The Toros are going to need her to win. She can score, bottom line. Her and Taylor Champion are the 2 main scorers. Breezy dishes and she attacks as well. Amber runs the point, so the Toros need all their cogs and keys in place in order to make a run at Pomona in the second half.
Well, in fact, Monet Lee with the 3 personal fouls has 0 points in the ball game, but the player who does have double figures and leading the Toros here at halftime, Amber Wharton, 11 points in the first half to go along with a couple of rebounds as well.
Yeah, Amber's stellar. She was recruited to run the point, had to find the holes and to penetrate and dish if she needed to, but she can also score. She has a big frame, and it's good to have a big-sized guard who can see over the defense, whatever the defense is giving her, and make those decisions. And right now, Pomona is letting her drive, and she's getting a lot of second-chance points and loose ball rebounds and putting it back up. So it's helping the Toros in that respect.
And Talia Rayford, 7 points, 3 rebounds. In fact, she's the leading rebounder as the Toros had 12 in the first half.
Correct. She's active. She's very athletic. She's always active on the boards. Unfortunately, the Toros are being out-rebounded by 7 at the moment, and I know that that's one of the strong suits for Cal State Dominguez Hills is on the boards.
Visiting with Mel Miranda, the Assistant Athletics Director and Sports Information Director at Cal State Dominguez Hills at halftime. Cal Poly Pomona leading Cal State Dominguez Hills 32-30, and on the opposite side for Cal Poly Pomona, Jada Blackwell, 13 points, 5 rebounds. You can see very easily why she is this year's CCAA Player of the Year.
Yeah, talking to Molly last night, she was very concerned about the matchups Pomona presented, especially with Blackwell. I mean, Blackwell is as legitimate a player as you can have in not even Division II, but just in all college basketball for women. She's legitimate, and she's a real threat on all facets of the floor.
And, of course, she was injured last year and missed the season, but back this year for the Broncos. You have Ariel Marsh, 8 points and 4 rebounds in the first half. She's been very dominating when she gets into the action on the floor for the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos are just well-rounded, and they're very talented, and they present a lot of problems for opposing defenses. So, you know, the Toros have the work cut out for them. Luckily, they're riding a huge win last night, and they're looking to carry that momentum over to the second half. They've kept close so far, you know, as the 2 previous games have been pretty close as well. And in the second half of both games, when Cal Poly Pomona started to pull away, so the first 5 minutes will be critical. If the Toros can keep up with the Broncos, they might have a shot at winning this later on in the half.
Mel, thanks for the visit. Mel Miranda, the Sports Information Director and Assistant AD at Cal State Dominguez Hills. We'll pause for this message. When we come back, the first half stats and the second half action live right here on the live from Ontario. Back live here at the CBB Arena in Ontario, California. David Smock, along with Ray Dietz, former player at Villanova University in Philly. And getting some scores from around the NCAA Division II West region. We understand that the women's game is underway right now in the Pac West final, I believe. And we'll see what happens in some of these other scores, because not only will the winner here, Ray, go to the regional, but the winners of the other championship games, they'll get the automatic invite as well.
That's right. So this is a half of basketball where you don't want to have any energy at the end of this half. So, and each team knows what they're playing for. Got Monet Lee back here on the floor for the Toros with 3 fouls. So she might have been a little too amped up in the first half, but
yeah, in fact, 3 fouls and 0 points. So
yeah,
waiting for Lee, who averages 15 points a game, to see if she can rev up the offense. I think credit goes to Cal State Dominguez Hills, only trailing by 2 points at halftime, and it's 32-30 as Shamari McCorkle, 5'11" junior forward from Orange, will inbound for Cal State Dominguez Hills into Amber Wharton. Here we go. 20 minutes away from somebody punching their ticket to the NCAA West Regional, and Garcia has to go into the backcourt to retrieve the ball, and that would be a turnover, backcourt violation, turning the ball over to Cal Poly Pomona. Right, those kind of unforced errors you really can't afford to have.
Yeah, the first half, you mentioned with Dominguez in the game, they had 4 turnovers in the first half, 7 for Cal Poly Pomona in the first half, and then the rebounding edge went to Pomona 19-12.
You know, to me, the stat that kind of stands out as Blackwell underneath the basket scores, and that is off the bench. Cal State Dominguez Hills with 14 points, only 3 for Cal Poly Pomona.
Yeah, that was a big deal, and as Dominguez gets the ball in Garcia's hands, and there's Monet Lee with the follow that she can't buy it.
Blackwell with the rebound on the miss.
But Poly continuing the pressure, the full court pressure on the Toros, and it forced the Toros into a quick shot there.
Blackwell, again, now 17 points for Blackwell, and Cal Poly Pomona has a 36-30 lead at the 18:52 mark.
Yeah, I really think now Blackwell can shoot outside, but when she catches the ball back to her basket, if she's too low, it's lights out.
Garcia, 8 to shoot. And I think they're calling an offensive player control foul, but it'll be again against the other number 1 in this game. That would be J.J. Judge of Cal Poly Pomona.
For the Toros, it's very important to score on this possession. Otherwise, if you're Molly Goodenbauer, you have to call a timeout to stop this slide. Otherwise, it could get to 8 or possibly 9-point lead for the Broncos.
Let's get a 2-3 zone here now. Monet Lee in the teeth of the zone. She got fouled.
Yeah, she's going to go to the line.
Third foul on Blackwell there.
Okay, so all of a sudden now that almost kind of evens things out. The leading scorers for both teams in foul trouble with 3. Monet Lee for Cal State Dominguez Hills and Jada Blackwell for Cal Poly Pomona. Lee at the free throw line. That's her first point of the ball game.
And let's see which team recognizes that the other star has 3 fouls. A lot of times you can earn a championship by having the knowledge within the players. The coaches can say it, but the players have to execute on the floor.
36-32.
I mean, Monet just flat out can't foul. She's got to be smart here.
Yeah, especially this early in the second half with 18:09 remaining.
McCorkle, that's her game. You coach her to just keep playing with energy and keep Blackwell out as far as she can. You know, it's funny because Champion seems to have the size to guard Blackwell, but they're not. They're putting McCorkle on her. And it's, you know, that book I've alluded to in the past, David versus Goliath. Well, Goliath has all the armor.
Blackwell makes 1 out of the 2 to 0 for 1, so she's 1 for 3 in the ball game at the line.
The opposing army sends David down with just a sling and a rock, a little guy, and he just hits Goliath in the head with the stone and grabs Goliath's own sword and cuts his head off. So that's.
And Champion gets on the board. That's 8 points in the ball game for Taylor Champion. Jada Blackwell, by the way, now has 18 points in the ball game. 18 of the 37 the Broncos have scored. But again, as you mentioned, Ray, Blackwell with 3 personal fouls. Monet Lee, leading scorer for the Toros, also with 3 personal fouls. Lauren Jakey with the basketball, 10 to shoot. Decides to give it to Ariel Marsh, and Ariel Marsh with the bucket. Marsh now with 10 points in the ball game, and it's 39-34.
Champion.
So Taylor Champion again. So now the Champion, that gives her actually 9 points in the ball game.
So the conference championship on the line, and some recruits are watching this ball game tonight.
Jakey driving the line, basket and scoring. Jakey only had 2 points in the first half. Now she has 4, and it's a 41-36 lead in favor of Cal Poly Pomona over Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Number 1 there, J.J. Judge.
No, she's kind of underrated, Judge is, but she's as effective out on the floor as anybody.
Yeah, that was just a smart little slap at the ball. And
Judge, a 5'10 senior guard from Roseville.
That's a travel.
Yep, 10 on the shot clock as traveling called against Cal Poly Pomona. In fact, speaking of turnovers, in the first half, ironically, 7 turnovers committed by Cal Poly Pomona, only 4 turnovers committed in the first 20 minutes by Cal State Dominguez Hills. Number 3 seed Toros, number 1 seed Broncos. Somebody's going to punch their ticket to the big dance tonight. 15 to shoot Nice feed underneath. I was blocked out. McCorkle. And that should be McCorkle's first points of the ball game. She has 2, and it's 41-38. Back to a 1-possession ball game. Judge pulls up, shoots, misses. Battle for the rebound between Marsh and McCorkle, and they're going to call jump ball.
Good hustle by both players there.
There's a timeout on the floor with 15:40 left in the game. With the score, Cal Poly Pomona 41, Cal State Dominguez Hills 38. You're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV.
I think it's really important that Cal State Dominguez Hills lock down on Judge and Marsh and not allow them to pick up any of the scoring, because sometimes the idea is, okay, you have a player as good as Jada Blackwell, let her score all the points, but shut down everybody else. And if you're not going to go at Jada Blackwell underneath and get her to get those last 2 fouls, then you have to know that she's going to score the points, and you're going to have to shut down the other 4 players on the floor.
Yeah, that's so true. And you see teams struggle where they don't get contributions from others. UCLA's women's team had that problem this year, and they can only get scoring from a couple of players. So, yeah, you have to have contributions, a spread out team. On the men's side, I think both teams tonight spread it around, and the women searching for that right now.
So far in the first 4 minutes and 20 seconds of the second half, Cal Poly Pomona has outscored Cal State Dominguez Hills just 9-8. So again, even though the Toros are trailing by 3, gentlemen, Cal State Dominguez Hills is right now staying very close to Cal Poly Pomona.
You know, it's funny through the course of a year to see different players and teams develop. But Amber Wharton has really developed into a good player for the Toros this year, and she's not on the floor right now, but she looks like a different player from the start of the year.
Again, 30-second shot clock in women's college basketball, down to 20.
Good defense, but they called her. She got her hand in the cookie jar there. Moved her feet well. You know, we talk about the recruiting, and right here in Southern California, we're in the heart of it. And over there, Jordan Canada, #1 player in California from Windward High School, is going to be headed to UCLA this year. They knocked off Mater Dei, the mighty giant, the other day.
Garcia comes out of the ball game. She now has 3 personal fouls. Woods, 3 for 5, make it 4 for 6. So that gives her 4 in the ball game.
And remember, one of the Garcia's fouls was just the ticky-tacky punching going down the floor. And so you can't afford to give those up, because all of a sudden, one of your best slashers is in foul trouble.
So 42-38, 4-point lead for Cal Poly Pomona, with 15:07 to play in the game. And nice shot by Talia Rayford. That's 9 points for Rayford unofficially. And it's back to a 2-point game, 42-40. Jakey to Marsh. Back to Jakey. 15 on the shot clock. Tyler Woods. Woods loses the ball, but recovers to give the ball to Jakey. Now 5 seconds to shoot on the shot clock. 3 seconds. Jakey, 2 seconds. Off balance shot, not even close. And the rebound by McCorkle.
Here's Monet in the open court.
So the 2 stars on each team with 3 personal fouls.
Nice take, Wilson.
Yeah, Kylen Wilson.
That's her game, slashing, running the floor. You can tell she's happy and having fun when she's up and down, and that's what she's been doing tonight.
Kylen Wilson now with 4 points in the ball game. Well, Kylen Wilson started last year for the Toros. This year coming in as a role player, but when she does come into the lineup for Cal State Dominguez Hills, very effective. If you have to sit down Monet Lee, she's the next best thing.
She missed the chance to give him the lead there, but the longer that Cal State Dominguez Hills hangs in there, the more frustrated Cal Poly Pomona is going to get.
our second tight score of the ball game. It was at 3-3. Now it's 42-42 with 13:58 to go.
Yeah, if you were to ask Molly Gunbauer at the start of the game if we could get to the final 2 minutes within 2 points of the lead and Monet Lee in the game, I think she'd take her chances.
42-42, 13:52 to play. Winner will take the CCAA tournament title. Regular season champion is Cal Poly Pomona. They already have a banner for that. Toros would like to take the tournament banner back home to Carson. Speaking of Carson, good student support group tonight for the Toros, making the trek out from the South Bay to the Inland Empire. A lot of Cal Poly Pomona fans naturally here too. 20 on the shot clock. Lauren Jakey with the basketball, feeds it in to Blackwell. Now to Woods. Woods for three, no. Rebound Marsh, and a reset of the 30-second shot clock for the Broncos. Jakey again running the offense for head coach Danelle Bishop in her 4th season. Molly Goodenbauer in her second season at Cal State Dominguez Hills. 4th season in the conference.
Nice looking shot there. She missed it.
Yeah, long shot by Mian Dingle, who's in the ball game now.
And that's Jada Blackwell's 4th foul of the game.
Dingle, a 6'1" junior guard forward from Pasadena out of Maranatha High School. I had to double check that because she doesn't look 6'1" out there.
She's got a nice looking stroke. They're trying to find other contributions here. Tie ball game, we're all knotted up.
Yep, 42-42 as Lee comes into the front court for the Toros. Gives the ball to Wharton. David Smock, Ray Dietz, Mark Serber with you tonight live on Liquid Event TV from Ontario. 15 on the shot clock. Toros moving the ball. Wharton top of the key.
Nice penetration.
5 seconds left, have to get a shot off.
Yeah, Lee has to hurry, 2 seconds. Oh, nails nothing but net. And only
I believe that's her first bucket of the night.
Yes, it is. 4 points in the ball game. Only somebody like Lee can pull off an off-balance shot like that as the shot clock was almost ready to expire. And there's a timeout on the floor. 12.5 minutes to go. Cal State Dominguez Hills with the first lead of the night as they are on top of Cal Poly Pomona 44-42. You're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV. And while we have a chance to mention, you can follow Liquid Event TV on Facebook. And you can also follow along on Twitter at liquidevent.tv.
Well, I hate to keep harping on it, but 4 fouls for Jada Blackwell, and while she's sitting on the bench, Cal State Dominguez Hills needs to go on a run here and make sure that they can get a bit of a lead before she comes back in. Well, they have the lead right now, obviously 44-42, but they need to pad it and also shut down those other players and let them know that without Blackwell, they're in a bit of trouble.
What about the last 6 minutes and 20 seconds? The Toros are on a 14-6 run. And that's one of the reasons why with 12 minutes and 30 seconds to play, you have Cal Poly Pomona now trailing as Cal State Dominguez Hills has the lead 44-42. We had a couple of games this weekend that almost went overtime, almost. Question is, will this one go OT? Would not surprise me at all.
All the way from the start to this point, it's been a close one, so neither team has been able to break away.
I mean, biggest lead that Cal Poly Pomona has had was at 6 points with 2:17 until halftime. The Toros by 1. 44-42.
Good D, pressure D.
Yeah, so actually Cal State Dominguez Hills did have a brief 1-point lead earlier in the ball game, but now becomes very important with 12 minutes left. Toros with the basketball.
10th turnover for Cal Poly Pomona.
That's her shot.
Oh, Simone Thompson.
And
7 in the ball game.
That's a way to get punished when you don't take care of the ball.
Well, Wharton with the steal on the other end and come down with a 3-pointer to hammer home 3 points to give them a 5-point lead.
Yeah, Cal State Dominguez Hills 47. Cal Poly Pomona 42 as the Toros have a 5-point lead. Timeout on the floor. 11:38 remaining. And again, you're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV. David Smock, Ray Dietz, Mark Serber, and if we don't get a chance to say it afterwards, gentlemen, great job this weekend. A pleasure working with you as always. We always have a lot of fun, a lot of great basketball action, and it's going to continue. NCAA West Regionals next weekend, possibly the women's bracket at Cal Poly Pomona. Selection Sunday tomorrow, one of the top days of the year, as the NCAA Division II teams find out where they go and who they will play.
And I think one of the really cool things that they're doing in the Western region is all of the conference finals are being played at the exact same time. So that really adds to the excitement because teams go in not knowing what they have to do, whether another team's lost earlier in the day, and that means even if they lose, they've already locked up a certain seed. So I think that's something that's really cool in the Western region.
Well, I think the committee will be kind of burning some midnight oil, taking into consideration some of the wins and losses, certainly in the men's bracket with Cal State Stanislaus, ranked number 9, winning. Ariel Marsh's shot doesn't go. So that means they might bump out somebody who's 7 or 8 in that NCAA West regional poll. Again, top 8 teams go. Warden with the basketball and the Toros with the 5-point lead, 47-42. Clock counting down, 11:24, 11:23. 11:20 now. 15 on the shot clock. Wharton, top of the key. Back over in the far side to Rayford. Rayford trying to feed it in to Monet Lee. Lee's shot doesn't go. Champion on the follow-up. And
they call it jump ball.
Yeah,
it's going to stay here.
Thought for a second they were actually going to call a foul to send Champion to the free throw line. Okay, 6 seconds on the shot clock as the Toros inbound. They have to hurry. Warden to Champion. Champion for 3, short, off the rim. Rebound by Thompson, and a reset on the 30-second shot clock for the Toros.
Great play there by Monet Lee to looking to pass first and get your teammates involved. They keep the ball moving. They get a bucket. And that all started with Monet Lee's penetration, not looking to score, but looking to create.
Champion in double figures now for 11 points for the Toros. Their biggest lead of the ball game. 10:40 to go at 49-42. The Toros in the second half have outscored Cal Poly Pomona 19-10. As Cal Poly Pomona had a 2-point lead at the break. Cal State Dominguez Hills find themselves with Monet Lee, her fourth personal foul. Off the bench, 18 points for Cal State Dominguez Hills, 4 for Cal Poly Pomona. Woods at the free throw line. This is the first one. She's 1 for 3 from the line in the second half. She makes the second one, and the Toros are up by half a dozen. 49-43, 10.5 minutes to play. Thompson loses the handle, but coming up with it at Garcia. Gives it out to Rayford. Rayford, though, can't get to it, and Ariel Marsh almost stole it as the ball goes out of bounds. Officiating directors, Dr. Bill White, Willis Bajunkin over there. I think Willis got that ball and tossed it back on the floor. 49-42. 8 on the shot clock. And the pass intercepted by Tyler Woods. Woods, the 5'2" junior guard from Corona.
Yeah, the officiating's been pretty good here, I think, this weekend. They've been pretty consistent.
Foul is on number 10, Simone Thompson, her first
So Simone Thompson gets called for a first personal foul, second team foul here in the second half, and that'll send Woods to the free throw line. 2 for 4 here in the second half. She was 3 of 4 at the line in the first half, and she makes that one.
Woods from California, or Corona, California here.
6 of 9 from the charity stripe. Make it 7 of 9. So I have Woods now with 7. So exactly 10 minutes to go. Underneath that now by a few seconds, midway through the second half. Cal State Dominguez Hills 49, Cal Poly Pomona 42. Timeout on the floor, 9:47 left in regulation. With the score, Cal State Dominguez Hills 49, Cal Poly Pomona 45. You're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV. Well, gentlemen, I think as we look back on this tournament in future years, we'll have a lot of fond memories of our time here at CBB Arena, and I think some really great basketball games and a few really good upsets along the way as well.
Exactly. In the men's bracket, it was a tournament of upsets. Both number 1 and number 2, Cal State San Bernardino and Cal Poly Pomona, falling in the semifinals. And then number 4, Cal State Stanislaus, who finished the regular season of the conference tournament with 7 wins in their last 8 games, going on to win, something nobody thought was possible when this tournament started.
Yeah, they took out the number 5 seed, the number 1 seed, and tonight the number 3 seed as Cal State Stanislaus won the men's championship game. Battle for the rebound after the missed shot by the Toros, and Woods up with it for the Broncos. 49-45, 9.5 minutes to go, and the basket's good by Woods, and she'll go to the line.
Woods is just so adept at circling and then driving to her right into the lane, and she's initiated contact every single time. And the last time she was unlucky, the ball went off the rim and out. This time she gets it to fall and a chance for the three-point play.
Yeah, that was a key bucket. Molly Gudenbauer called that last timeout and was emphatic. She wanted her team to get the ball down low. Blackwell is out of the game. They pounded it down low. They didn't get the bucket, and so that was the last thing that she wanted to happen. But give Cal Poly credit here, playing well with Blackwell on the bench.
49-48. Toros lead is 1. 9:19 to play. Monet Lee going to the bucket, and there's a whistle. They have Tyler Woods with 4 points. I have with about 9.
Well, Tyler Woods has 10 points, but the interesting thing is she's just 1 for 2 from the field, but she's been to the line 11 times. So we talked about that ability to initiate contact as she goes up for a shot, and 8 of her 10 points tonight have come from the charity stripe.
Lee 2 of 2 from the line. Makes the first one, make it 3 of 3. That's 5 points in the second half for Lee after she did not score in the first half, averaging 15 points a game this season. Had to sit on the bench a lot of the first half with 3 personal fouls. Makes the second one 6 points for Lee and a 51-48 lead for Cal State Dominguez Hills. 1 possession ball game, 9:07 to go.
Another turnover from Cal Poly Pomona, their 11th of the night.
Coming into this game, Cal Poly Pomona with a 5-game winning streak. And Cal State Dominguez Hills with a 3-game winning streak.
Man to man. It was full court, give the pressure, and Monet Lee.
Lee off balance shot didn't go, and the rebound by Ashley Lovett. Lauren Jakey with the basketball, gives it to Ariel Marsh on the near side. Lots of time on the shot clock, only at 15 seconds. 8:26 to play. Lovett's shot comes off the rim, rebounded by Garcia. So Talia Rayford, it's called for her second personal foul. Ariel Marsh will go to the free throw line where she's 3 for 3 in the game. It's her first shot at the charity stripe in the second half. It's good, so she's 4 of 4. Coming into this game, Marsh, an 80% shooter at the line. Second one is good as well.
And they're in the bonus, David. 70% from the free throw line tonight. So that might play a huge factor down the line.
1-point ball game. Cal State Dominguez Hills 51. The number 1 seed Cal Poly Pomona Broncos 50. Champion, no, short, off the rim, rebound by Rayford, and Rayford puts it in.
Nice, nice scrap, nice hustle by Rayford.
It's 11 in the ball game now for Talia Rayford, as Cal State Dominguez Hills has a 3-point lead, 53-50, but still a 1-possession ball game. JJ Judge for 3, no, rebound by Garcia for the Toros.
And she didn't have her feet under her there, leaning back.
Lee driving to the basket.
That's where it's so crucial for a referee to get it right, because say they call a charge there, that's Monet Lee grabbing a seat. So at some point here, you just got to go with Blackwell.
There's timeout on the floor with 7:33 left in regulation. The CCAA Women's Championship game. It's Cal State Dominguez Hills 53 and Cal Poly Pomona 50. Mark, anything on the life stats that stand out for you?
Right now, Cal Poly Pomona out rebounding Cal State Dominguez Hills 27-22. Cleaning up on the offensive glass, though, Cal State Dominguez Hills with 9, and they've had a lot of second chance points in this game. So Rayford and others doing a great job getting that ball down low and putting back up that second opportunity.
Yeah, they've taken control of the game, the Toros here, and so what you have is Poly trying to stay in the game here, and they do bring Blackwell onto the floor here, so they're going to make their final push here.
Win or lose, the Toros have acquitted themselves quite well. They had lost 5 of 7 games down the stretch, finally beating UC San Diego last Saturday night at the Toro Dome in Carson to make the tournament. Lee at the free throw line.
McCorkle waiting to come in the game, so Gudenbauer countering with McCorkle to play defense on Blackwell.
Lee misses that one. She had been 5 for 5, now 5 for 6.
Champion with a nice rebound.
And Blackwell comes up with it for Cal Poly Pomona. 54-50, Toros lead Cal Poly Pomona by 4 points. 7-12, 7-11, 7-10 to go. Jakey with the basketball for the Broncos. Feeds it into, well, trying to feed it into Blackwell, almost kind of intercepted and knocked away by Brianne Garcia. Now, Shamari McCorkle will come in to give Monet Lee a break. McCorkle, you're not going to see a lot of points out of her, but she comes in to clear off the boards.
Play defense on Blackwell as well.
McCorkle at 5'11", Blackwell is 6'1". Blackwell underneath, shot comes in and out, rebounded by Taylor Champion for Cal State Dominguez Hills. Amber Warden into the front court for the Toros. 6:47 to play, 54-50. Cal State Dominguez Hills leading the number 1 seed Cal Poly Pomona. Number 1 seeds have not done very well this weekend. Garcia for 3. Well, she had 1 foot in the air as well.
McCorkle giving him another shot.
Shorter shot by Garcia misses. Rebound by Rayford. She goes out of bounds.
That's got to be a foul. The referee has to call that one there.
Mark, things starting to get a little chippy out there on the floor.
Yeah, they are, but once again, cleaning up on the offensive boards is Cal State Dominguez Hills. They're giving themselves second and third chances. Garcia unlucky not to finish there, but off of it, Rayford gets to go to the free throw line.
Mark Serber from Fox Sports International. Ray Dietz, former player at Villanova. I'm David Smock from Television Sports America and the Toro Sports Network at California State University, Dominguez Hills. At the free throw line, Talia Rayford. And shot missed, rebound by Levitt. Again, for us three gentlemen, or we three gentlemen, great to be with you on this Saturday night, wherever you may be. Great NCAA Division II college basketball action here in Ontario, California. Wharton with the basketball. Under 6 minutes to play. Toros 54, Cal Poly Pomona 50. 5:49 left. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Lee with the basketball. Lee drives along the baseline, underneath, and score it. Monet Lee, that's only her second field goal, but she has now 9 points.
That's her game there. She's got a feel for the game. You know, she could play just about any sport as a kid. As the rip is here by Garcia. Oh, took a hard fall.
Yeah, she hit the bottom of the backboard.
And Wharton going right at the number 15.
Yeah, some of the players, I'll tell you, they were rushing down there. We almost had a little bit of a fight. We said things were getting chippy, Mark.
Wharton going right at Woods, and I think that's what you have to do in that situation.
So Molly Goodenbauer out on the floor as well.
Hit her head on the floor there.
Oh, Garcia's so tough, though. Look, she's up and moving around. And I think the officials are concerned to see whether or not that should be a flagrant foul.
56-50, 5 minutes, 22 seconds remaining, and a 6-point lead for the Toros of Cal State Dominguez Hills over the Cal Poly Pomona Broncos.
Garcia, one of the toughest players that I've seen in a long time.
I love the pep talk that Rayford is giving Garcia.
I also like that Wharton. You don't want to see confrontations. You don't want to see teams fighting, but I love the fact that Wharton has her back. That's what you want from your teammates. You want your teammates to defend you. So for Wharton to go straight at Woods, not what you want to see, not necessarily the best thing from the neutral sporting perspective, but exactly what you want from your teammates is to get in their face and say, hey, don't do that to my player.
Well, you have a team in the finals, and what occurred is what you just explained. You have the worst team in the Western Conference in the LA Lakers. And when Nick Young gets absolutely pummeled in a game, none of his teammates come to his defense, and he's vocally saying it in the newspaper that he wishes one of his teammates would have get. So, absolutely.
In the last 10 minutes, the Toros have outscored Cal Poly Pomona 20-9.
And both coaches have now been called over to have a conference with the referees.
Yeah, Donnell Bishop, her 4th year as the head coach at Cal Poly Pomona. Molly Goodenbauer in her 2nd year at Cal State Dominguez Hills, though several years ago she was the head coach at Chico State.
You know, I don't think Woods went in with any ill intent. I think she was just a bit too enthusiastic, and Brianna Garcia went to the ground pretty hard. But you have to give Molly Goodenbauer so much credit. This was a team that last year was 9-17. Now they are 19-9 and have a chance to win the CCAA conference tournament.
Yeah, there was only 4 returning players this year for the Toros, so she cleaned house. And the fact that this team is this good right now with no seniors, watch out for a year from now at the CCAA tournament.
And I actually talked to Breezy earlier in the season, and I said, what caused this turnaround? And she said Goodenbauer bought in a lot of great players, and you had players like Lee and Garcia who were good parts of the puzzle last year but didn't have the other pieces around them. Goodenbauer has bought that in.
Goodenbauer knows talent. She won 2 NCAA Division I national championships, I should say, as a player at Stanford University, where she played for Tara Vanderveer. Tara's sister, Heidi Vanderveer, is the head coach at UC San Diego. Renee Jimenez, the women's coach at Cal State
San Bernardino.
Bernardino here. She was an assistant coach at Stanford, so a lot of Stanford bloodlines so to speak here, among the coaches here. So it is a flagrant 2 foul.
We have an ejection.
Wow, that is huge. Tyler Woods with at least 9 points in the ball game. Woods, actually with 10 points in the ball game, has been ejected because it's a flagrant 2 foul. That means Garcia is going to the line. And Jeremy, you guys know this foul situation better than I do. Well, a flagrant 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors involved. You're trying to get into the head of the defender, number one. Okay, I agree with Mark. I don't think the girl was going in there to hurt her. I think you had a couple of things there. She did foul her too hard, though, so you're penalized for that. Another factor here, Garcia, she doesn't weigh a whole lot. So she's going to fly when someone hits her hard. So, but I think they got it right. It was awfully hard, and the flagrant 2 does lead to the ejection and the technical.
Ironically, Garcia with the free throw, her first point of the game. 5:22 to go, 58-50. Biggest lead.
Well, she sunk both of them, but the biggest
she
thing
did get both of them. Okay.
about Woods going out is that she was drawing contact and getting to the foul line every time she went down the floor. So now that threat is gone for Cal Poly Pomona.
And this would be huge here. It'd make it a 5-point play, but it's off.
But it's another offensive rebound for the Toros.
They can take more time off the clock as we are coming up right now. Exactly 5 minutes remaining. 5 minutes. I didn't see the second free throw. Updating our scorebook here, courtside.
Well,
So 2 points for Garcia.
The other factor in the rise of the Toros this year is the development of the players. As Monet
Lee scores.
Does her thing, slithers through. But Amber Wharton developing. So as the season's progressed, you've seen development. You've seen a lot of things leading us to this point.
8 points for Lee. Sorry, Ray.
Yeah, Toro's up by 10 now. This is a pretty big possession here.
Yeah, 10-point lead, 4:23 remaining. Shot is good by Jada Blackwell. Blackwell's had an outstanding night tonight as Blackwell in the ball game now with 20 points. But they lose Tyler Woods, as Woods had 10 points in the ball game.
Yeah, at this point, if you're the Broncos, you just go to the well every time.
Champion for 3, rebound by Marsh.
And the 3 was wide open, but you got to go at Blackwell because Blackwell right now is refusing to foul, so you're going to get a good layup every single time you go inside.
And Monet Lee is wise enough to understand that. But here's where I think you got to just go down to your horse.
Yeah, Marsh fouled. 3:42 to go. Cal State Dominguez Hills 60. Cal Poly Pomona 52. And there is a timeout on the floor. As we mentioned, 3:42 left in the second half. Cal State Dominguez Hills 60, Cal Poly Pomona 52. And you're watching the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament live on Liquid Event TV. Well, Mark, you interviewed CCAA Commissioner Mike Matthews. Second year here at the tournament in Ontario, but that may not be the location next year.
No, he said that they try and switch it up to go north and south to make it even for the schools, and so they're going to have to talk about it and see where they're going to end up next year. He didn't name any possible venues, but he said that he's loved the last 2 years here at Citizens Business Bank Arena, and he said that the staff here just does an incredible job and has helped to put on a wonderful tournament for both the men and the women. And it's been a very enjoyable weekend. Everything logistically has just been so smooth. And so I think that Mike Matthews has been very happy with the way that it's gone for the last 2 seasons. But it's time to move on. It's time to give those northern schools a chance as well.
Well, I think if you put it to a vote of the coaches, I think everybody would want to come back next year. But there's some great venues up in Northern California as well.
Well, and I'd imagine Coach Vanderveer down in San Diego wouldn't mind seeing the game played on a naval warship down there in the bay.
Well, they did have the tournament at the RE/MAX Center a couple of years ago. Marsh at the free throw line makes the first one. So for Marsh, she is a perfect 6 of 6 at the free throw line. Make it 7 of 7, 60-54.
And Marcia's been huge tonight with 13 points. 3 players for Cal Poly Pomona in double digits.
But right now, the Broncos trailing by 6. Garcia with the ball, 15 on the shot clock, 3:25 on the scoreboard. Now Monet Lee to Taylor Champion.
That's
Champion
her
for
shot.
3, no. And the rebound is
The
going to be
littlest
grabbed by
player on the
Garcia.
floor.
My goodness. Garcia comes up with the rebound and a 30-second reset on the shot clock for Cal State Dominguez Hills.
And that's what makes Garcia so important to the squad. Even when she's not scoring, she's doing other things such as rebounding, whether it be on the offense or the defense, or slashing in and making that opening for the perimeter.
10 to shoot, 2:55 to go. 3-point shot by Champion doesn't go, rebounded by Blackwell.
Dominguez Hills have shot 3 3-pointers in quick succession. Why are they not going down low and banging up against Jada Blackwell?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a matchup zone there, so.
Marsh had a wide open shot, couldn't convert it, and with the rebound is Rayford for the Toros.
Cal Poly got what they wanted.
Garcia scores. So for Garcia in the ball game now, that's 5. And there's a timeout on the floor. 2:22 away from crowning the women's CCAA tournament champion with the score. Cal Poly Pomona 62 and Cal State Dominguez Hills 54. It's been 5 years since the Toros have won the CCAA women's bracket tournament. They're less than 3 minutes or less than 2.5 minutes away from doing it again.
Well, Cal Poly Pomona just 2 for 8 from behind the arc. They're going to have to hit a few of those shots if they're going to get back into this.
Ironically, in 2009, the Toros won that championship at Casulas Arena in San Bernardino. They could be going 2 for 2 in the finals here in the Inland Empire. Jakey with the basketball.
Wharton just didn't have her feet set, so they're going to call her. Yeah, it's frustrating as a player where the offensive player ran right into her, but if your feet are not set, they're going to call you every time.
I love Wharton's intensity, how animated she is, but she has to be careful. If the ref saw some of the things she was saying, she could have very well gotten a technical.
You know, we were talking about Renee Jimenez and Molly Goodenbauer and the Stanford connection. Well, Dr. Sue Borrego, the vice president at Cal State Dominguez Hills, who oversees athletics, she hired them both. Renee Jimenez first as head coach at Cal State Monterey Bay, and Molly Goodenbauer here at Cal State Dominguez Hills. Here we go, 62-55, as there's a 7-point lead, 2 minutes to go in the game. And after the game, we will have the banner presentation. I'm sure some neck cutting may be involved.
That's unfortunate the men didn't get to cut the nets down for themselves, but leave it to the women. You think they would have 2 sets of nets ready to go. Or maybe Stanislaus will come back out and they'll get to cut one side and whoever wins this game gets to cut the other.
Or, you know, the men may come back and cut the women's banner. It's hard to say, you know. A little controversy brewing here.
Tomorrow, NCAA Division II Selection Sunday. For Division I, that'll be next Sunday on the 16th. Lee gets it into Wharton. Exactly 2 minutes to play, 2 minutes. 15 on the shot clock. Into Champion. Champion turns around, shoots, and comes off the rim. Rebound by Jakey for the Broncos.
That's a big rebound if they want to have a chance here.
Broncos only down by 7.
That's where they need to go.
Blackwell.
It's money in the bag down there when you're down low.
Blackwell will have at least 9 points in the second half for Cal Poly Pomona. 62-57. This one's not decided yet.
Cal Poly Pomona has done so well to deny Cal State Dominguez Hills getting inside in these last 5 minutes.
Minute 25 to go. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Now 10 seconds. Lee, top of the key. Over on the far side to Wharton. Wharton tries to drive along the baseline. Bounce pass into Champion. Stolen away by Jakey for Cal Poly Pomona.
The thing they did well is they ran some clock. They just didn't want to turn it over. That's
J.J. Judge for 3, short. Blackwell with the rebound and the putback.
Yeah, it was Lovett there actually picked that up.
Oh, was it Lovett? Okay. A lot of bodies underneath the buck. If that's the 2 points for Lovett, that should give her 6 in the game.
You do want to run some clock here, but I wouldn't run it to the end because you want to get a good shot. You get a basket here, and you could go a long way to closing this game up with a 3-point lead. The Toros, they want to score here. They don't necessarily have to run that. There's 46 in the game, 18 on the shot clock, so you want to think offense here.
Well, for Lovett, we have her at 6 points and 7 rebounds, and we get the update that should give her now 10 in the ball game. She had 6 in the first half.
Out there in Murrieta.
46.6 seconds. The horn sounds, so we'll say it again. 46.6 seconds to play. Cal State Dominguez Hills 62. Cal Poly Pomona 59. McCorkle inbounds to Garcia.
There's Rayford setting it up top.
12 seconds on the shot clock. Garcia to Rayford. 9 to shoot. Gives it to Champion on the outside beyond the arc. 5 to shoot. Back to Lee. 3 to shoot. Lee, off balance shot, doesn't go. Rebound by Champion.
Now you take it out.
Yeah, now the shot clock has been turned off.
Cal Poly Pomona realized that, and they know they have to foul.
If she makes one, that could finish this ball game here with 22 seconds because you need to get to where it's 2 possessions. So 3-point lead right now. It's still 1 possession.
22.9 seconds remaining. 62-59. As you mentioned, a 1 possession ball game. And I'll tell you, this has been a good one. We have not had a single blowout in any of the games this weekend. This is our 10th game since Thursday afternoon, and not a blowout in any of them. Some potential blowouts, but end up being very tight games at the end.
Cal State Dominguez Hills trailing Chico State by 11 points last night, as we talked about at the top of the broadcast. And they did so well to stay in this game when they were trailing, because when you are coming back from behind, you exert so much energy, not only physically, but emotionally as well. But when you're playing and you're in the game, you can just focus on what you need to do instead of trying to play catch-up, and that's what Cal State Dominguez Hills has done here tonight.
Garcia at the free throw line, makes the first one. Garcia in the ball game, 2 for 2, so now she's 3 for 3, perfect at the charity stripe. And we have Brianne Garcia, 6 points, make it 7.
And here you don't want to foul, especially if Cal Poly Pomona gets into the lane. Let them get into the lane and take the shot, although that 3-pointer could be huge.
Yeah, a huge shot missed by
Marsh.
Marsh. Blackwell with the follow-up, 64-61. Cal State Dominguez Hills, a 3-point lead with 11.9 seconds to play.
But a good news from a Cal State Dominguez Hills perspective is if you get that ball in, then you're going back to the free throw line.
That's right. They're going to go to the line, and I'll tell you what, gentlemen, get used to this one, because I have a feeling these 2 teams could be right here or where, if we're down at the Naval Ship in San Diego next year, or wherever this championship game is next year. These teams have juniors, sophomores. You look across the key players here, not too many seniors. So these teams are going to be strong for years to come.
Well, they could even match up again in the NCAA West Regional. Speculation here at CBB Arena in Ontario that most likely Cal Poly Pomona would end up hosting the women's NCAA West Regional. Another team that could end up hosting Montana State Billings, that ran the table and won every conference game. We saw the Yellow Jackets in Anaheim way back in November. They were 1-2 there, but very strong the rest of the way. Okay, here we go. Last 12 seconds of regulation. Inbound pass to Champion. Champion gets it to Rayford.
Just throw it in the air.
To Amber Warren.
Well, good foul by Blackwell. There's still 2 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds left, 64-61.
They took way too long to foul there.
Yeah. Well, there's still a chance, but if she hits one, it's all over.
Dominguez Hills got lucky as well. Garcia tipped that ball, and luckily a player was behind her, and then 2 Dominguez Hills players on the next pass ran into each other.
Yeah.
Well, Wharton with 11 points in the ball game. That was all in the first half. She is 2 of 3 from the line and misses the first one. So now, she's now 2 of 4.
The question is, do you miss this one intentionally?
That's a good question. You are at 3 right now, but
well, she makes it a 4-point ball game.
Yeah, I think that's the right move there, and that's going to be it.
And the ball game is over. Buzzer sounds, and the California State University Dominguez Hills Toros are the 2014 CCAA Conference Basketball Tournament Women's Champions. 5 years ago in San Bernardino, and now tonight here in the Inland Empire again, this time in Ontario, the number 3 seed Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros have punched their ticket to the NCAA West Regional Tournament next weekend somewhere in the western United States. An absolutely phenomenal game, a game that Cal Poly Pomona led 32-30 at halftime, and neck down the stretch, and finally the Toros at one point a 10-point lead. They end up winning the ball game by 4 as the student section on the floor kind of creating a little tunnel, and a great job all the way around. And let's see if we can get Molly Goodenbauer to come over. We can go over there and try to see if we can pull her away here in a second, or Pat Fuscaldo cheering, men's basketball coach at Sonoma State, Molly Goodenbauer's husband. And we'll try to see after the ceremony if we can get Molly to come over in a few minutes. And Mark, while we're waiting for the banner presentation, your thoughts of the game tonight?
Well, I think first of all, it's not just tonight, it's the entire season, going from 9-17 to 20-9 with the win tonight. And the fact of the matter is they just executed, played very well, got scoring, 4 players rather in double digits, spread out the scoring very well. But you also have to talk about the ejection of Tyler Woods. That was a controversial call. Tyler Woods was doing a great job of getting to the foul line every time she charged down the basket. And also Jada Blackwell getting into foul trouble really hurt Cal Poly Pomona. But good teams take advantages of situations like that, and that's exactly what Cal State Dominguez Hills did.
Well, at this tournament this year, you did not want to be the number 1 seed. Cal State San Bernardino yesterday in the men's bracket lost, as did the number 2 seed in Cal Poly Pomona. Cal Poly Pomona here is the 1 seed, and again the number 3 seed in this tournament this weekend. Cal State Dominguez Hills winning. For Cal State Dominguez Hills in the women's bracket, they took out the number 6 seed, Cal State East Bay Pioneers. They took out the number 2 seed Chico State Wildcats, and now they take out the number 1 seed Cal State San Bernardino, or I'm sorry, Cal Poly Pomona, rather, Cal Poly Pomona Broncos. So this is the all-tournament team. Ariel Marsh being introduced.
Marsh was an excellent player tonight. Had 14 points and 7 rebounds, was 7 for 7 from the free throw line.
Jada Blackwell.
No surprise there, 24 points on the night, 11 for 15 from the field, even hit a three-pointer.
Yeah, CCAA Player of the Year, Jada Blackwell. Taylor Champion to the all-tournament team.
Outstanding catch and shoot.
Second team, all CCAA. I predict Taylor Champion will be first team next year as a senior. And Brianne Garcia, also the all-tournament team.
Well, Garcia not only taking that fall, getting up to knock down those 2 free throws and a couple of huge rebounds.
Tournament MVP,
Lee.
Monet Lee. She carried the team in the semifinals. Tonight her teammates carried Monet Lee when Lee had 3 fouls. And now the entire team coming out. Also on the floor, interim athletics director Jamie Boyer. And a lot of pictures about to be taken. It's been a long 5 years. But there's another banner to be hung at the Toro Dome in Carson, California. They won in 2009, and they win here in 2014. Again, the team will be going to the NCAA West Regional. And try to see again if we can get Molly or...
Yeah, her husband's...
okay, so Pat Pascaldo's going to try to get Molly to come over here and try to do a post-game interview. They usually have a 10-minute cooling-off period, but when you win like this, I don't think 10 minutes matter at this point. And again, a lot of fans in the stands doing photographs. Like I said, we'll try to get Molly. If we're not able to do so, then we'll obviously read the quotes in the newspaper.
Yeah, Molly's husband pointed right to us. So
we'll probably get Molly over here in a few minutes. And, you know, a lot of people thought it would take 3. It only took 2. And again, you know, we've mentioned it several times. We don't have the loud music in the background, but the fact that Cal State Dominguez Hills, they are all juniors or younger. There are no seniors on this team. You look at Monet Lee, the MVP of the tournament, she's a sophomore.
Yeah.
She has 2 more years. In fact, Garcia is a sophomore. Simone Thompson, a sophomore. The only juniors you have will be seniors next year. Will be Champion, Squeezer, Rayford, McCorkle, Wharton, are basically that quartet, and actually Karen Natividad as well. So there's a lot of potential talent if they can stay healthy in the 2014-2015 season. They will be very, very dramatic as Molly Goodenbauer is making her way. Ray, we're going to have you take off your headset. Live on Liquid Event TV, we're joined by Molly Goodenbauer, the head coach of the Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros. And Molly, congratulations.
Thank you.
A lot of people thought it'd be 3 years. You got it done in 2.
I'm really, really proud of the kids. You know, they won 3 games against 3 very good opponents in 3 days. I don't have words for how happy I am for them. And you can see how happy clearly they are.
What was kind of the difference? You kind of struggled a little bit down the stretch. You had to beat UC San Diego last Saturday night just to get in the tournament. And all of a sudden, it seems like you peaked at the right time here in Ontario.
We played 10 games without Amber Wharton, and she is our heart and soul at the point guard position. That's what we recruited her to do. And she just got back and healthy the first weekend when we had that hard trip, coming back off of Humboldt and Pomona, and she was barely healthy the next weekend. This is the first real time we've had her since the beginning of the year. She makes a huge difference for us, moves players back into the positions that they're supposed to play, lets Breezy not have to think and just attack the basket, do her scoring, moves other people back and helps our rotation. And I think the kids just got confident. You know, they felt good about the San Diego game. They got the East Bay game under their belt, felt really confident about that. Big win against Chico, and then tonight, you know, it just kind of, I told them to play with your hearts, leave it out there on the floor.
Well, we said last night during the semifinals that Monet Lee was carrying the team on her shoulders most of the game, and then Breezy started scoring, Mercoco on the boards. Tonight, Monet gets in foul trouble, and everybody else carried her in the game.
Well, I think these last 3 games, we've been very, very balanced. You know, it hasn't been one person. It's been different people, several people on any given night. Last night, Taylor hit a huge shot. Today, Breezy gets a steal, gets fouled. Everybody stepped up, did big things at important times. And I thought Shamari's defense and Talaya's defense the last 3 days have been incredible. I mean, they've done a great job taking people's best players out of games. I thought Shamari, undersized, did a fantastic job on Jada Blackwell tonight, you know. I just think they started working together and started playing together and looked like they had fun, and outcome was awesome.
We're visiting with Molly Goodenbauer, the head coach at Cal State Dominguez Hills. 65-61 winners tonight over Cal Poly Pomona. Selection Sunday tomorrow. When do you find out? Where do you think you're going?
Yeah, you know, it comes out 7 o'clock West Coast time.
PM?
PM, yep. I don't have any idea. Going into the region, honestly, had Western Washington won today, which I think they lost. Had they won, I don't know if we would even been in the region. We were in 7th place. There was a, Academy of Art would get in with their automatic bid. So I don't know where we're going. I'm just happy that we made it. That was one of the goals that we set for this team going into the beginning of the season, is to get to the NCAA tournament, give them that experience, build that foundation. So it doesn't matter if we go to Billings or if we stay here in Pomona. I'm happy with either one.
Well, you punched your ticket to the big dance, and we'll see what happens next weekend.
Yep, awesome. Thanks very much,
Molly,
David.
thank you very much. Molly Goodenbauer, the head coach of Cal State Dominguez Hills, our guest here on the post-game wrap-up. As Cal State Dominguez Hills, they will go somewhere in the Western United States next weekend in the NCAA West Regional. Very quickly, gentlemen, let's wrap things up. Mark, final thoughts.
Congratulations to Molly Goodenbauer and her side. Just an awesome job executing. She talked about her game plan, and they executed it to perfection, and they deserve to be in the tournament with a 20-win season.
Ray, your final thoughts.
Well, very competitive league. Anything can happen moving forward, but wonderful feeling for the Toros tonight. And on the other hand, Poly has a wonderful team. They can do damage this year. They can win it all. I mean, that could happen very well. So, and next year, as I mentioned, a very competitive league, but both these teams could be back in the same situation next year.
Well, it's been a great weekend here in Ontario. Can't wait to see what happens in the West Regionals. Again, Cal State Stanislaus, the men's champion here in Ontario, and Cal State Dominguez Hills, the women's champion here in Ontario. For Mark Serber and Ray Dietz, our entire Liquid Event TV crew, David Smock saying so long from CBB Arena in Ontario, California. Once again, tonight's final score, Cal State Dominguez Hills 65, Cal Poly Pomona 61. Thank you for watching. Hope we'll see you next weekend at the West Regionals. Until then, across America and around the world, now and forever, this is Liquid Event TV. Good night, everybody.